Hey, what's going on? Justin here from ModernMixing, and this is another monthly mixing tutorial where I'll be focusing on the mix bus today. So the actual video in this tutorial was taken from the newest premium tutorial, and it's only just a small short sample of what you'll get in the 2+ hours from the actual full premium video. So I'm going to be including the practice files for anybody who wants them. They're absolutely free. Just click the link in the description below and you'll get all the details of how you can download them. Now, for this particular video, since I am focusing on the mix bus, what you're going to get with the practice files is a mixed version of the song, plus all of the plugin processing that I used on the mix bus. This way you can play around with the plugins yourself and do your own investigation, do some A/B sampling, all that good stuff. And if you aren't using Pro Tools, have no fear. I'm going to actually include the presets with this this tutorial, so you can load it up in Sonar, Reaper, Cubase, whatever you want, and then you can just load up all my presets, and you should have the exact mix bus chain that I was using in Pro Tools. So now that I have the capabilities of using VSTs, I'm able to share a lot more with other people out there who aren't using Pro Tools. So without further ado, let's get into this tutorial right now. Okay, so onto the master bus here, and the first thing we got is obviously the MB7 mixer, because I wanted to host my VSTs. Just some really good free VSTs out there for the mastering chain, I guess you could say. But the first thing we got is the Ferric. Well, actually, you know what? Before we get into that, there's something about this plugin that once you sort of hit that zero, wall, it just starts to not sound good. It starts to really sound digital, and the distortion from digital, and it doesn't sound very good. So I'm always trying to keep my levels away from that zero as much as possible. From every fader, from this fader here to the output fader, I'm always trying to keep that level as far away from zero as I possibly can. So for the first thing I did with this fader, I bring it down because it was starting to hit in the reds here. So I bring this fader down so it was away from that red zone as much as it possibly could be, and then it's going into this Ferric TDS, and this is just to give it more of a little bit of an analog warmth. Tried to bring the sounds a little bit closer together, and this plugin definitely helped out with that. I'm not doing anything much, just driving the input, leaving the trim and the output the same, and that's about it. So let me just level everything over here so you can get a better idea of what it sounds like before and after. Let me just bring it over to the verse. So let's do that now. Here we go.
In the beginning, I never thought it would be you. When we were chilling, smiling in the photo booth, as we got closer.
So yeah, you should be able to hear those effects. Like I said, just bringing things a little bit closer together, and just adding as that sort of glue to the record, I guess you could say. Now with this mastering limiter here, I'm trying to accomplish two things. I'm trying to get color from this plugin because it has a little bit of edge to it. Just trying to overall brighten up the track just a little bit, and I'm talking like a small amount, nothing crazy. But I'm also driving the input here so I can get more of the sound from inside of this plugin. So instead of just driving the output, I'm driving the input to make everything louder, but it's also coloring the sound as it's going through. So we'll do a little before and after. I'll turn the output back down, and I'll leave the Ferric TDS on. Actually, you know what? I'm just going to turn this on right away. So I'll bypass the plugin, the MB7 mixer, and then when I turn it on, the Ferric and the mastering limiter will be engaged.
In the beginning, I never thought it would be you. When we were chilling, smiling in the photo booth, as we got closer.
So yeah, it just helps to bring that vocal out just a little bit. It puts this layer of color over top of the whole track, so it really brings out everything. Everything sounds a little bit tighter, closer together, and you know, it just makes for a really wonderful sound. And like I said, there's lots of good free plugins out there, man. There's just too much hype on these other companies that have these other plugins. And I'm not saying that all those other plugins aren't good, but it just takes the spotlight away from the free plugins that are actually really good. And you know, the only problem with some of the free plugins is that they're only Windows 32-bit, but you know, you can still find some really good gems out there for if you're using audio units or using 64-bit. But just, you know, stay on the lookout for that stuff. And then lastly, I have the Waves L1. Now this goes after, and I'm not doing this to add color or anything like that. If anything, this plugin's probably softening things up a bit. But I'm really just using this as the last stage to bring the volume up, because with the MB7 mixer, like I was telling you, like when you get to 0, like this plugin starts to not sound very good. So I was keeping it away from 0 as much as I possibly could, bringing down the output 6 dB. So that means I have to compensate for that if I want to bring this record up to that level of loudness where people are, you know, used to hearing. So I had to do that in this particular case. And that's what I did. And I'll bring this down here, so I'll do a before and after, and you'll see the difference is not, you know, is basically nothing. You won't hear any difference. So let's check that out.
In the beginning, I never thought it would be you. When we were chilling, smiling in the photo booth.
So yeah, if anything, it does soften it up just a tiny bit, but nothing too crazy. But this is, like I said, it's really just for the volume. Just wanted to crank that stuff up so the track is as close to 0 as possible, and not squishing the dynamics. You could see I was barely taking anything off. If anything, it might have been a half a dB here or there, and it's not supposed to, you know, limit those dynamics. I want to enhance those dynamics, but I want to get the peak of the dynamic as close to 0 as I possibly can, you know, just so it can compete with other records. And that's about it. It's nothing too complicated about the master bus. It was more about color in this case, as opposed to doing anything dramatic, bringing the level up and just adding a little bit of color to it and just fusing everything together as much as I could. So that's about it. So let's move on to the automation.